News. It's time now here on Live from Paris for Media Watch, and Emma James has joined us in the studio for that. Hi there, Emma. First of all, you're going to be looking at the tributes to the late President Jacques Chirac, which are continuing in the press and online, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. Many front pages dominated by the former French president who's died at the age of 86, unsurprisingly. Libération perhaps has the nicest image and the nicest idea with this front page, I think it's fair to say. A very enigmatic image. And the headline, Sans Chichi, has a real double meaning.
Yeah, they're playing on words there, aren't they, with his nickname.
Chichi is his nickname, so without Chichi, but also it's a phrase that can mean no frills or no
without
pretensions.
Making a fuss. Or,
exactly. So it's a hint at the kind of character that they believe he had. Looking elsewhere, L'Obs is hitting the stands today. They've gone with a very retro photograph of the former president there. C'était Chirac is their simple headline. It was Chirac. And he has really become quite the fashion icon, which is perhaps not what many people would expect of somebody of that era, but there's certainly a lot of people wearing T-shirts, carrying his photographs. Paris Match, which hits the newsstands tomorrow, has this image, and it says simply, Jacques Chirac, the beloved. And I think a lot of people are feeling that way today. Certainly the queues at the Elysée, enormous numbers of people queuing from 7 o'clock this morning to sign those books of condolences, or golden livres d'or, they call them, golden books. Many leaving very lengthy messages. Our reporter there, Alexandre Renard, captured this image of a woman called Edith, who's 73, and she talked about how he was so handsome in his youth, but also that he was always by the side of the French people. And she's actually carrying a photograph where he is literally alongside her. He's also gracing plenty of front pages internationally too. Die Welt went with this one, the president who the French loved. Very warm words here, and also quite dramatic ones, really, talking about the fact that he's the last French head of state to walk in de Gaulle's larger-than-life footsteps. Not sure how the presidents who followed him will feel about that. L'Orient Le Jour, which is a Lebanese newspaper, has this simple headline, a friend in difficult times.
And again, as you were saying, a retro photograph there. He does have this retro appeal at the moment. However, we have to say that not everyone here in France is happy about the blanket media coverage that his death received here, did they?
Absolutely. And it's not that they feel the coverage wasn't merited, that the attention wasn't merited. It is just the simple fact that there was another huge story here in France yesterday, a fire at a chemical factory in Rouen, and some people really feeling that the coverage was very lacking because of the obviously the focus very much on the former French president's death. People taking to Twitter to say things like this: "Dear media, we understand Jacques Chirac is a hero who conquered dragons, fought the darkness and was resurrected on the third day. Now can we know what's happening in Rouen?" Very strong words, really, I think. People also very angry about this from West France, which covers the Normandy region, which is where Rouen is. You might have expected them to have some mention on their front page, but instead it is all about Jacques Chirac and a small amount of advertising. People saying things like this, pointing out that Jacques Chirac once said about the environment, the house is burning and we're looking elsewhere.
Seems very apt there.
Extremely apt, and that's what the person here is saying. This person too asking, is it a joke? What about Rouen? Basically saying that the paper is pathetic for not having at least focused a little bit of attention on that. Now, France Inter is reporting on the fact that a lot of people living in that area, the fact that there was so little coverage was actually adding to their anxiety. They were worried, they were angry too at the lack of focus on this. At least 8 people have been hospitalised with breathing problems, many more taking to social media to talk about headaches, problems with their throats. A lot of comments being made, and it simply wasn't being reported that much. This gentleman saying that France 3, the local television station, was actually evacuated because people were vomiting. So a lot of very dramatic things going on in Rouen are just not being reported. It shows here this video of local people actually taking to the streets to call on the authorities to actually give them the truth, but also to give them assurances that this factory will be closed down in future. Now, we don't know whether that will happen. Ministers have been in the region today making some fairly obvious statements, such as the town is polluted by soot. I think we could have all worked that one out.
Yes, thanks for that information.
Absolutely. Yeah. But the biggest concern probably is going to be the fact that we know things have gone into the Seine. This image here shows hydrocarbon pebbles actually floating in the Seine that have come from this factory. They will be extremely toxic, so they are going to be working to clear all of that out. Of course, the other issue as well, with very little real media coverage, it gave fake news a chance to shine online. There were videos of a Chinese factory explosion that people said were from Rouen. There was a photo of a road full of dead birds. This photograph shows some dead birds actually beside the River Seine on a sort of a walkway area. And what we don't know with this one is whether the deaths of the birds are in any way related. However, people drawing all sorts of comparisons and links between things. This person saying that thousands of fish died overnight a little north of Rouen, and wondering whether or not that's actually the pollution that swept north, killing those fish. We are still waiting to know an awful lot about exactly what has been polluted and how serious the concerns should be.
Right, clearly a very big developing story here in France still. Thanks very much, Emma James there with Media Watch for us.